Drop and drive and tall and fall are two terms that can make or break the delivery, and at this point in their career, it has left a lot of coaches and a lot of athletes in the unknown as to whether they should have more of a drop and drive or a tall and fall delivery. So within this video, we're going to discover what the differences between the two are and which one should be more correct for you. Now, before we get this started, my name is Anthony Rodriguez, coach and founder of Versatile Athletics, where we've helped over 190 plus athletes increase their velocity, move pain-free, and get the recognition that they deserve by helping them understand how their bodies naturally prefer to move. Now, for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and define what tall and fall is and drop and drive is, and where exactly in the delivery it happens. Just so we're all on the same exact page, drop and drive and tall and fall is a transition of weight transferring that happens after the drift, right? So after you lift your leg and then you start to fall down or drop down into the hinge, that is simply what we call drop and drive or tall and fall. And tall and fall is almost looking like you're straight up down into the delivery. And then drop and drive is more of a flexing down and then going outwards towards front foot strike to finish the pitch. Now with those two definitions, a big industry standard comes more with the drop and drive analogy. And I cannot stress enough how much this analogy has hurt a lot of athletes that I've seen play with and that I've also coached. What exactly is drop and drive and why is it such of a big standard? When it comes to drop and driving, it is more intentional for back leg loading. So if you're dropping into the back leg, right, you're feeling the coil, you're loading everything, you're creating a lot more power for hip firing, you're getting a better hinge, you're more grounded. So you feel like you're actually using the back leg to create power to send upwards on the chain and out through the whip of the hand. However, tall and fall does get a lot of bad rep because it's the exact opposite. And when it comes to being looked at on the biomechanics side, is not enough coil, you're not getting enough power because you're not sitting on the back leg, you're not firing the hips, and it just doesn't really look ideal. But now as more information has gotten out and we're now understanding energy transfer, the new model is going down and out at the same exact time. So that is almost using a hybrid of drop and drive and then the tall and fall of now we need to have a little mixture of both and drive our energy down and out together at the same time to have the most amount or proper form of weight transfer and energy transfer. However, it is not as simple as taking everything down and out at the same time. We all have different movement preferences. We all have different ways of thinking to initiate a movement. So a lot of athletes may actually prefer more of a drop and drive style, and other athletes may prefer more of a tall and fall style. And from whichever one of those two spectrum you fall on, your down and out curve is going to look very, very different. For example, let's say you're more of a drop and drive athlete. You may look something out like this, right? We're like, and this is ideally like us both starting out at the same point. So here's the point. Or let's say you're more in the continuum of tall and fall. Well, you may be something that goes out and out like that, right? Or you may be a little bit of a hybrid in between and you may be this line, or maybe you may be more drop and drive, right? So there's a million ways to get your energy down and out at the same time, but the cue of dropping and driving and tall and falling would definitely serve a specific bucket of athletes, while the other side will serve another specific bucket of athletes. Now, who are the athletes that tend to relate more with the drop and drive and the tall and fall analogy? We see the drop and drive analogy work a lot more with athletes who tend to be bigger in mass, who tend to be wider on the hips, who tend to be a little bit more heavy on the weight, more power strength driven in the gym. Those athletes would to some extent tend to have a slower delivery or take more time to complete their delivery. They will be more on the side of drop and drive. And again, yeah, we want to include something that goes on a down and out at the same time. But for them, the initial cue of drop and drive will serve them a little better. So for that, you can think for athletes like Josiah Gray or maybe Yu Darvish. Now, on the side of tall and fall, we tend to see that more with athletes who prefer to be more springy, who prefer to be more light, who have a lot more momentum, who tend to be a lot more twitchy, more long levers and lighter on the weight, these athletes would have somewhat of a tall and fall combination into that spectrum of down and out at the same time. So for that, you can think of athletes like Cam Schlitter, Giordano Ventura, Blake Snell. And these aren't the only things that can also affect drop and drive and tall and fall or the continuum in between. We also see it being affected by your hip anatomy. If you have more hip external rotation, you're going to want to drop more into a vertical shin, which is going to be more of a drop and drive to some extent. Or if you have more hip internal rotation, your body is going to allow you to get more of that tall and fall, or more of a mixture of going down and out on the weight transfer curve. Other factors can come in forms of your ankle mobility, having more ankle inversion to ankle eversion. Those things will play a different role to how you're able to distribute your energy down and out the mount, and how you're able to hold on to the back leg, and which of those cues will work best for you. Everything that we covered here, from the athletes that we've seen more on the drop and drive side to the athletes that we've seen more on the tall and full guys, is not just as simple as just seeing what their morphology is. We do this a lot more intentional with our athletes by running them through a motor preference assessment, where it's going to let us know how their central nervous system wants and desires to move. That way we can cue them up correctly. Think of athletes like Seed or Nathan, who both prefer to load the lower half and sit on that back leg on a drop and drive. Or you can think of athletes like Michael and Stevenson, who tend to fall more on the tall and fall avenue. Now keep in mind, these athletes could all throw 90 plus. Now the one thing is helping them understand this is what your body wants, this is how your body prefers to move, and letting that initial cue start up the movement for them and get them on the down and out slope that their body desires. Now, if you guys want more information on this for yourself, if you're really trying to know and understand how exactly your body needs to move, feel free to book in a call with us down below in the description, where we can talk about what exactly is happening in your career, where you're stuck at, and we can see if we can actually help to see if you guys will be a good fit for the program. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.